Welcome to the FaceTime with God podcast. I'm your host, Kay Farrar, and yes, you have tuned in to the right place because we're bringing Christ to the culture and the culture to Christ because the gospel's not for old times, it's for all times. So we've got relevant topics, real people, and we're starting right now. All right, so welcome to another edition of FaceTime with God. I am here with two of my favorite people, two people I have known, we won't even say how long. So Dr. E.G. and Lady Ann Francis. And our topic today is a great one. So you might want to call your friends and say, hey, check this out. We are talking about old school parenting. Parenting, how it should be done. Parenting, how it used to be done back in the day. Parenting when, mom would come home and kick her shoes off and make everybody some dinner. Parenting where you got together for holidays. Parenting where there were some guidelines and rules in the house, and they didn't even have to tell you because you already knew because they told you way back in the day, and you still remember. Old school parenting. So, but before we really get into the meat and potatoes of our topic, we're going to do a little rapid fire because we like to warm up. So y'all ready for some rapid fire?
Sure. Ready.
Okay, all right. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? You got rapid fire now. Rapid fire. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning. Number 2, coffee or tea. Number 3, dream vacation destination. Dream vacation destination. Number 4, one word friends would use to describe the Francis family. One word. I know that's hard. And the final question. What is a book or movie that has changed your life? Ooh. A book or a movie. Whatever comes to you first. This is just our rapid fire round. A little bit of icebreaker, a little bit of getting to know, and really the audience getting to know you, and having a little bit of fun. All right. So you can call them out. I'm going to peek on you.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, question number 1. What's your answer? Just yell it out.
Well, my first one was breathe.
We answer at the same time?
Just yell it on out.
But I wrote down thank you.
The first thing you do in the morning.
Mm-hmm. I say thank you.
Mine is go to the bathroom.
Okay, there you go. Practical, real and practical. I have to think about that. Yeah. Okay. I said when you get up. I didn't say out of bed because I have to check it myself. All right, second one. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Cool. All right. So how do you like your tea, Dr. E.G.? Is it a special mix?
I like my tea like I like my woman.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Black. Yep. How does it say? Black?
No, that's the coffee. The coffee.
Oh.
The tea, I like it sweet.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll take that.
A little bit of lemon.
We'll take that.
The lemon, I guess, is the spice.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, First Lady, how about you?
Coffee. I like my coffee with International Delight Creamer. And it has to be Almond Joy.
Almond Joy.
Mm-hmm. No sugar, just creamer.
All right, number 3, dream vacation.
Away.
Okay.
I know hers, but go ahead.
I just put dream vacation.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, interesting.
What is that? What does that look like for you?
That looks like me going to Hawaii or us going to Hawaii.
Okay.
And then just being out at a lot of luau's and having the coconut drinks and then just enjoying the beaches and lounging around during the
virgin
day.
Coconut drinks for those who don't know.
Absolutely virgin.
All right. So now you said away,
Yeah.
Dr. E.G.
Vacation for me is just getting away.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a place, but a space.
Okay.
Just to get away clear my mind, a nice picturesque horizon.
Okay. So, all right. So that means quiet vacation or kind of hustle and bustle and activity vacation?
No, I like quiet.
Okay. How about you? Would yours be quiet or a lot going on?
The first couple of days would definitely need to be quiet.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm just ready. Like, I got to keep it moving. I got to go sightseeing. I want to be wherever the excitement is. That's why I
Yeah, I'm more of an excitement person on vacation, which is so funny. Mommy and I, so that was my vacation, buddy. And we would do the beach, and we would do different beaches. Like we did Miami a few times. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. Wow. But most beaches, they have the quiet part of the beach, and then they have where the families and the kids and the puppies and the balls and volleyball and frisbee. We always love the activity. I don't know why, and we wouldn't do anything though. We would just lay out, have our burgers and our fries and our wings and whatever. Yeah,
and people watch,
and people watch, and just enjoy it and enjoy the sun. All right. So, favorite book or movie that changed your life?
40 Days So Fast by Dr. Cindy Trim.
Wow, so fast.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. Now, is that a thick book?
It's not really.
Really?
Not really.
It take you 40 days to read it? Is it
it does, because it has a characteristic every day.
Okay.
And it has different things to change your life for the better.
Wow.
Working on your spiritual life, your soulish part of you. Okay. And so it's kind of like digging deep into what you want to become or where you should be in Christ. So it's very good, and most people do the whole 40 days, and some people fast along with the book, like a natural fast, but for the most part, it's more of a spiritual fast, where you're kind of like stripping away some things on your life that really don't belong, but you kind of have allowed to attach.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to have to check that one out.
It's a very good read.
Yeah. And so it's like sectioned out day by day, it sounds like. So that's pretty cool. I can do that. I might have to get that one.
Sectioned out, and then it actually questions at the end. And so it
so it's like workbook format?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
And it gets you to meditate and think about, what you just read, and make you take a look on the inside of you and really just jot those things down. And so in doing that, you realize that some of the things in you have to change, or they just have to leave. But it's very good.
Wow, see, so that's one of your keys to how you're so awesome in the spirit. I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
I can say that. All right, how about you, sir?
Well, I like to say the Bible, but there's a but there, because when I first started reading it, I had no idea what they were talking about. And even in the interpretations, I would read stuff and I'm thinking, this is supposed to be a life-changing experience, but the interpretations didn't quite match up with what I was reading. And part of that was because of the these and the thous and the forwards and all that. It's almost like you needed a lawyer to interpret what was on the pages.
That's very real.
Because of that, and this is part of my answer, on a spiritual note, I would probably say The Passion.
Okay.
The movie, The Passion of the Christ, because that changed me to the extent that after I visualize what we read in Scripture that Christ really went through, and because He loved us while we were still doing our thing, that He did that. Wow. I'm like, all the stuff that I was concerned about didn't seem to matter as much.
Gotcha.
Apart from that spiritual note, Brewster's Millions.
What is that?
By Richard Pryor.
I thought you were going to say Star Trek.
No.
Okay. Star Trek. Yeah, he's a Trekkie.
But before Star Trek, it was the Jetsons.
Yeah.
And so that's just the futuristic stuff that takes us into this age that flying cars, all this stuff, Dick Tracy,
phone,
where the boats go.
on your watch, which we now have.
Yes. All of that.
And so a lot of people may not even know what the Jetsons is, and it's all good. You can Google it. You can Google it, but
or the Flintstones.
That one is Gilligan's Island. They don't know anything about all the good Scooby Doo. All the good stuff. All the good stuff. Cool. So, parenting. So now that we kind of broke the ice a little bit, we want to talk with you a little bit about parenting. Tell us a little bit about your family. Give us a capsule of your family, and you can even go back how you all met and bring us on up to date. And you got 2 minutes.
Uh-oh.
So whoever wants to go first.
Okay.
So you can do it in 2 minutes.
Well, I'll start with saying.
Okay, I think what he's trying to say
sorry.
is that it was love at first sight.
No, that ain't.
It wasn't?
That's not what I was trying to say.
Okay.
No,
I thought
I
that's what
can't
you
remember.
said.
I can't remember what I was gonna say. I can't.
We
really.
met at church. My dad was pastoring, and so he came. He had come to visit in our hometown, and he came to church and visited that night. And I think that he was already a minister, so he was sitting up.
With the ministers?
Yes, with the ministers.
Okay.
And I think that he spotted me sitting out in the audience. Yeah. And so afterwards, my aunt played matchmaker, and we ended up talking after that. So that's kind of like in a nutshell.
Wow.
Yes.
Your aunt.
One of my aunts.
Wow.
Yeah,
So was this at Little Rock?
It was, absolutely. It was at Little Rock Church of Christ in Columbus, Ohio.
Little Rock is a rocking church.
Yes,
It
yes,
is.
yes.
All right. And so did you guys first live in Ohio or you moved here to Richmond? How did you guys get this way?
When we first got married, I moved to Texas because he had.
Really? And is that where it's Texas?
Where the name came.
Okay, awesome.
Because Tex was actually born in Texas.
Okay.
So we lived in Texas for a while, and then we moved back to Ohio. And then in our journey after being in Ohio for a while, once we were in the military, that's how we ended up on the East Coast.
Okay.
So we actually lived in Norfolk for a couple of years. And then about 3 or 4 years, and then we ended up back in Columbus.
Okay.
And then we spent maybe about 10, 11 years in Columbus, and then the Lord started nudging us for another major move, and that's how we ended up in Richmond.
Okay. And were all the other kids born in Richmond, or somebody's born in Ohio, somebody born in Richmond, or everybody?
The oldest was born in Texas, and the other 3 were born in Columbus, Ohio.
In Columbus.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Another one of my favorite places. So you guys were in Norfolk for a little while? Mm-hmm. All right. Do you know about fried crabs?
No.
No? All right, I'm gonna check. I gotta fact check your story. You were in the community in Norfolk, and you didn't have any fried crabs. It's good.
Well, he grew up by the ocean, so he was used to a lot of seafood. So it was like.
You can only find fried crabs in, certain places in Norfolk.
Whereabouts? Brambleton?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, call out some street.
All right. What you talking about? Little Creek?
But you know about yacht then.
What is it? No.
Oh no, I'm checking your black card.
We did not go to a lot of the local restaurants.
I got you.
While there.
Yeah, if you were down Virginia Beach, you probably wouldn't see yacht, and you probably wouldn't. You had to be in kind of in the community in it more the city.
I was raising babies, so I wasn't out a lot at all. We went to Waterside on Saturdays, and then that was it.
Then, since you call it back in the day, Waterside was kind of like the hot spot.
Yes,
okay.
Back then.
All right, and then what are the age differences in the kids? I mean, how much in between?
The first 2 is probably about 3.5 years, a year or so between the second 2, and about 4 years between the last one.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the things that's apparent, even with you guys just talking back and forth, is just how comfortable you are with each other, how real you are. Just a beautiful family spirit, like seriously.
Thank you.
Even with these questions, and so we didn't answer one of the first ones, so I am going to go back to one of the rapid fire ones that I skipped. So what's the one word about your family?
I would say wild.
Okay.
When they all get together, it just gets loud and wild.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say food.
Food, yeah.
It seems like every time people came around, it was centered around food.
Okay. Well, I have to say, so I'm gonna tell a little bit of backstory about this couple. So back in the day, I was a youth minister, young adult minister, whatever you want to call it, at a local church, Richmond Christian Center, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know what I was doing then. Same thing, just doing anything I could, anything they asked, anything that came in my heart. So I started with a step team, and then I started a music group, Bloodline Music Group. But one of the things I remember about you all, and I mean, we had to do fundraisers. We did. We sold donuts. We might have done car washes. We did patrons lists. Took them somewhere everywhere with Bloodline. We went to Atlanta, Ohio, New York, London, and all places in between. So we were always raising money and always just over the years, because it lasted a while and we had different groups of young people. Right. But what I remember about you all is that whatever I needed, it was like, we raising funds, y'all helping me with the sign up sheet. Are we going on a bus trip? Are they going? It's like you kind of need somebody to get on board first. Like if you say we're taking the kids on a trip and then you're waiting. So I remember back in the day, it was so far back, I even had to have permission slips. Wow. For some of them, you know what I mean? And so, but you were always first in. It was like, okay, all right, I'm getting support. Wow. You guys always did that for me, and I just want to thank you for that. Awesome. And so, and food, yes, and then you would have parties for the kids, and I just remember you bringing out these big, family-sized pans and I just remember you would open it up and the steam would be coming out of it. Macaroni and cheese, just cornbread, all the stuff that we loved. You were just so good to the youth. And so where did you get you already had 4 kids of your own. That's what I was, and then you have all the youth from the church at your house. I'm like, what kind of a huge heart? Like, where did you guys get this heart for the community and people and kids?
I think for both of us, really, we grew up in families that were large families. We grew up in families that were community families, and so they gathered together. They gathered around holidays. They gathered sometimes just around no occasion, just to get together Sunday after church. And it was typically a spread, some type of spread, whether it was Sunday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Everybody gathered around the table and they just fellowshipped and had fun. Yeah. And so as a result, we grew up seeing that, and we wanted to share that culture with our kids. And particularly when they were starting their grow up years around family, and then we relocated to a place where we didn't have family. One of the things, and I think hopefully this will answer, one of the things that we put before the Lord was, if we're going to go to this place that we haven't been before, but we feel you're leading us there, we need you to give us people that are like family to us. Because we're leaving our family behind, people that we're connected with, our kids are comfortable with. We came up in those kind of churches where you go to church on Friday for Friday night church, and typically you wouldn't see your kids again until Sunday morning. Because they would go with other family members and hang out with them on the weekend, which was a safe place. And we see them Sunday morning. We see them Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and then everybody's back home Sunday night ready for school the next week. And so coming here, they were used to having that camaraderie with family, and God gave us, and you were one of those people that God put in our lives that we could trust our kids with. And we became family. And that was an answer to prayer, because we said, God, if we're going to do this, we need people that you put in our lives that we can trust our kids with.
That's something. Absolutely. I took it so serious. I did. I'm not joking. And the Lord gave me some really good youth leaders too, who were really, really serious. It's like I got the serious people, because kids kind of know, and if they didn't want to act right, even though I wasn't hard, but I had guidelines and rules. And so, but we really did. I remember when we took and we're going to jump here in a second, but I remember when we took them up to Ohio, and Dr. Forbes gave us the kids. Like we sang. And then it was November 23rd.
Oh, wow.
And the church address is 2300 Cassidy Avenue. And after we sang that night, I gave an invitation and 23 people got saved. So I was like, so I'll never forget it. But then they gave us the kids and they had a lock and they left us. And, and it was, we had a good group. But we were all through the church, just keeping a watch over those. I was like, Lord, they left us. But we just took it so seriously. It was not a joke. So it's a blessing that you guys trusted us with your kids. So talking about your parenting style, what would you say is your parenting style for raising kids? How did they turn out?
One of the things I learned was that kids will play you. And they'll play the parents. And we started learning that they were playing us.
Okay.
They would come. I mean, that's the nature of kids. It's all the kids against the parents. And kids look out for each other. Okay. Because they know one's going to get in trouble, the other one's going to get in trouble, and so they cover for each other. Okay. They typically weren't like, okay, this parent or that parent's my friend. They were friends. Okay. They looked out for each other. Wow. And it's either all of us or none of us. Okay. And so, but what we found was that they would go to the parent that was the least resistant to get what they wanted. Okay. And what we found was that if they went to mom and mom said no, then they would come to dad with the same question. And if dad said yes, then they got what they wanted. When they were called on it, then they would say to mom, well, dad said yes. Okay. So we started realizing that they were playing them. They were playing us. So we got together and realized, okay, it's them against us.
Okay, so how about the topic of Francis family meetings?
So we need to come up with a strategy. And we called a meeting and we said to our kids, this is the way it's going to be going forward. You called a meeting. Now, around what age, like?
They
were probably 8, 9, 7.
They weren't teenagers yet.
Yeah, they were young. Okay. I mean, kids learn early. So here's a simple one. A kid is doing something in our cultural, a kid is doing something and you say, what did you say? Kids learn that tone means don't say that. Because when they didn't know that and they said it, they got in trouble. So now we teach them how to not tell us the truth. Wow. Because when we say certain things or we look at them, I know you didn't just do, they already know. No. Who are you talking to? Nobody. Well, I'm talking to myself. We're teaching them how not to tell us the truth. Wow. So one of the things that we taught them was, okay, this is life. Tell us the truth. It doesn't mean the consequences are going to be any better or worse. However, if you don't tell us the truth, the consequences are worse. And so we didn't try to be all spiritual with, he that knows to do good and don't do it will be beaten with many stripes. It was just that when you get on your own in the world and you don't tell the truth in court, and you find out that you lied, you have greater consequences. So what we said, if you agree, and I think we were talking together, if you go to one of us and you get a no, and you go to the other one and you get a yes, and then you come back and say, well, dad said yes and mom said no, they thought we were going to be in trouble, which we were, because we were at odds. Like, well, why would you tell them no? Why would you tell them yes? It's like, hold on. This is our house. This house don't belong to the kids. Right. So we told them, this is the way it's going to work. If you go to one parent and they say no, and you come to the next one, and you don't tell us that you already asked the other parent, and this parent says yes, later when it comes back, you're going to be in trouble with both of us. Because you're going to be in trouble because she told you no, and you tricked me to say yes. Gotcha. And when they saw it was going to be double jeopardy, we started finding out that they stopped playing us against each other. That was so you outsmarted them. We tried. So when you say you're going to be in trouble, all right, what does that look like? Did we have spankings at all? Yes. Okay, I was about to say because I don't know how they turned out well. That's the case.
So we had something called a hot seat.
Yeah. you know, so I have to say, as life went on, we apologized to our kids.
Really?
As grown-ups. We apologized to them because we followed the model that was set forth generations before us, our grandparents, our parents. And so nobody gave us the lesson. When we wanted to get married, nobody gave us a book to say, there were very few people that said to us, hey, this is a good thing to do for y'all to get married and, you know, enjoy life. So it was something we wanted to do.
Yeah, we didn't really understand what that would look like.
Yeah.
All we knew is that we were in love, we wanted to get married. We didn't even think about the kids coming like right away because that was like the furthest thing from our mind.
Yeah.
So we really weren't
That's
prepared.
how we got forth.
We really weren't prepared for to be parents because we were just learning how to be married, how to be husband and wife.
Yeah.
So when the children came, that was a whole different experience. Like, okay, now I have to learn. I'm trying to figure out how to be a wife. Now I got to figure out how to be a mother, and I'm away from my family, and you know, so it was like a lot of things coming into play for me because you know, like you said, there wasn't anybody to say this is what you need to do, this is how you do that. But then again, we really weren't asking a lot of those questions to people that we trusted. So you follow what you've seen and you think that that's the right thing to do. It's like, hey, I turned out pretty good, or my family turned out pretty good, so you know, why not just raise our children the same way that we were raised, or the way that, you know, we saw other people in our circle raise their children. So I think that even in that, once we got a little bit older, we learned, okay, the discipline thing, we're going to have to figure this out.
So let's look at the topic of discipline.
You know, maybe we should try punishment. Maybe we should try, you know, taking things out of the room. Maybe we should try some other ways to punish. But the thing about it is, for me, I can honestly say that, yeah, they got their share of seeing the hot seat and all that, but I think that for the most part, they were pretty much obedient.
Okay. They were pretty obedient. And some kids tend to be more, like they want to please you, and if it looks like you're not happy, a little bit, like tone of voice, or you get the look or whatever, they will straighten up. I think a lot of them need a little tap though. and then some of them they get a tap, you know, maybe a couple times, and then they're like, I don't like that tap, and you never have to tap them again.
Colossians 3:23 and 24. And whatever you do, do it with all your heart as unto the Lord and not unto men, knowing that it's of the Lord that you shall receive the reward of the inheritance, because you serve the Lord Christ.